Well, this source close to A'ja Wilson is claiming they offered A'ja Wilson more money than Caitlin Clark to play in this league.
You come at the queen, you best not miss. But what happens when the queen comes at the rookie and ends up looking absolutely foolish in the process? What happens when the established face of the league tries to humble the new golden child, only to have it blow up in her face instantly? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're breaking down the most explosive, petty, and fascinating beef in the WNBA right now. A'ja Wilson versus Caitlin Clark. For months, the media has tried to sell this as just competition. They've told us the veterans are simply welcoming Caitlin to the league. But let's be real and cut the nonsense. We all saw it. The hard fouls, the icy press conferences, the not-so-subtle shade. And most importantly, we saw the moment A'ja Wilson tried to embarrass Caitlin Clark and instead exposed her own insecurity to the entire world. This story isn't just about basketball. It's about power. It's about money. And it's about a changing of the guard that some people are refusing to accept. Because when A'ja Wilson, the two-time MVP, champion, and face of the Las Vegas Aces, took a shot at Caitlin Clark, she thought she was asserting dominance. She thought she was reminding everyone whose league this is. But the reaction she got, the backlash from fans, and Caitlin's response on the court, that was instant karma. And today, we're breaking down exactly how this backfired, and why A'ja Wilson may have lost this battle before it even really started. Let's set the stage, because context matters. A'ja Wilson has been the standard for years. She's elite. Her resume speaks for itself. But then Caitlin Clark walks in, a rookie who hadn't played a single professional minute, and she's already selling out arenas A'ja couldn't fill in 5 years. She signs a reported $28 million Nike deal before A'ja even gets her own signature shoe announced. You think that didn't sting? You think watching a 22-year-old from Iowa get the red carpet treatment didn't hit a nerve? Of course it did. And that resentment eventually bubbled over. It started subtly, tweets about charter flights, comments about special treatment. Then came the racial undertones, with implications that Caitlin's popularity was about skin color rather than logo threes and 40-point nights. But the real attempt to embarrass Caitlin came on the court, and through the narrative the Aces tried to push. The plan was simple: bully the rookie, expose her defense, make her look weak, trap her, rough her up, create clips that scream, "See? Just hype." A'ja wanted that viral moment, a block, a stare down, a reminder that there are levels to this. But here's where it backfired, and backfired beautifully. Instead of looking like a dominant veteran teaching a lesson, A'ja Wilson and the Aces looked obsessed. The aggression was over the top. The focus was personal. And fans saw right through it. When you're the MVP, you don't need to try that hard against a rookie. Trying to embarrass Caitlin only elevated her. You don't double-team nobodies. You don't play that physical against someone you don't fear. A'ja confirmed Caitlin's status by treating her like the ultimate threat. And then there's the business side, because this is where it gets ironic. A'ja may have thought tearing down Caitlin's hype would remind Nike and sponsors who the real asset is. Instead, it did the opposite. Every shot taken at Caitlin only strengthened her fan base. It created a Caitlin against the world narrative that is pure marketing gold. Jersey sales up, ratings up, attention up. A'ja tried to gatekeep the league and accidentally handed Caitlin the keys. Look at the optics. You have a certified legend looking pressed and emotional, while the rookie takes the hits, says nothing, and just plays basketball. No Twitter wars. No media tantrums. Just hoops. That's silence. That's power. And it's driving people crazy. There was one moment that perfectly summed it all up. Their first Aces versus Fever matchup. The hype was massive. A'ja came out playing like it was Game 7, attacking every possession, trying to dominate. And yes, she put up numbers. She's great. No one disputes that. But the story of the game wasn't A'ja's dominance. It was why a championship team looked desperate against a lottery squad. And through all that pressure, Caitlin calmly hit step-back threes, made impossible passes, and never flinched. When it was over, no one was talking about A'ja's stat line. The conversation was about insecurity, about jealousy, about why WNBA vets seemed threatened by Caitlin Clark. That's a PR disaster. Aya Wilson spent years building a brand of leadership and positivity, only to suddenly look like the villain in her own story. And we can't ignore the shoe deal. When Caitlyn's Nike contract dropped, Aya's reaction said everything. Likes, tweets, subtle frustration. And to be fair, Aya should have had a shoe years ago. That's a failure by Nike. But instead of aiming that frustration at the system, it felt redirected at Caitlyn. By attacking Caitlyn's deal, Aya forced a comparison she doesn't win on the business side. The numbers don't lie. Ticket sales, ratings, merch. Caitlyn is generating more revenue in months than most players do in a career. That's not opinion. That's reality. Aya tried to expose Caitlyn as manufactured hype. Instead, she exposed the league's inability to market its stars for a decade and highlighted just how valuable Caitlyn actually is. And that brings us to the fans.
That has been the biggest thing, is speculation around if Caitlin Clark would be playing. The league also said that they would give her equity in the league. So from this note, the internet kind of ran wild with that, including myself, because another player who is also number 22, who a lot of people have also been speculating about, is A'ja Wilson.
This is the most dangerous part for Aya. The WNBA has always had a loyal core fan base. But Caitlin Clark brought in millions of new fans. And these people don't know the history. They don't know the politics. They don't know the old grudges. What they see is simple: a rookie getting targeted by angry veterans. And that's the problem. Aya Wilson is risking alienating the very audience that's finally driving real money into the league. When you go after the fan favorite, you don't look powerful. You become the villain. We saw it all over social media. I used to like Aya, but this behavior is ugly. Why does she seem so bitter? She's acting like a high school bully. That kind of brand damage is hard to undo. And the irony, if Aya Wilson had taken the opposite approach, if she had put her arm around Caitlin Clark and said, "Let's grow this league together," she would be the hero, the benevolent queen guiding the next generation. Her shoe sales would rise. Her legacy would expand, because a rising tide lifts all boats. But instead, she chose conflict. She chose to try and sun the rookie. Now she looks like the old guard clinging to power that's slipping through her fingers like sand. We also have to talk about the on-court attempt to embarrass Caitlyn defensively. The Aces' strategy was clear: full-court pressure, picking her up 90 feet, forcing turnovers, trying to make her look overwhelmed. And yes, Caitlyn had turnovers. She's a rookie point guard on a struggling team. But every time she broke the press, every time she split the defense, found an open teammate, or pulled up from 30 feet, it made that defensive intensity look excessive, desperate, like bringing a tank to a knife fight and still getting touched. When you throw everything at one player and she still gives you 15 to 20 points and 7 assists, you haven't embarrassed her. You've validated her. Around the league, players are starting to notice the backfire. The anti-Caitlyn narrative is starting to look bad, and Aya is being seen as the face of it. That's dangerous for everyone. A new media rights deal is on the horizon. League valuations are rising because of the Caitlin Clark effect. By targeting the cash cow, Aya is biting the hand that's about to feed the entire league. It's short-sighted, it's emotional, and it's bad business. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's response has been flawless. She praises Aya in interviews, calls her a great player, shows respect, no public beef, no shade, just basketball. That contrast makes Aya's aggression look even worse. It turns this into a one-sided rivalry. One player shadowboxing, while the other keeps moving forward. Caitlyn is living rent-free in people's heads, and she isn't even paying utilities. So where does this leave us? The attempt to embarrass Caitlin Clark has failed. The welcome to the WNBA moments came, and she's still standing, still starting, still selling out arenas. The narrative has shifted from "Can Caitlyn survive?" to "Why won't the vets let her live?" Aya Wilson needs to pivot. Every eye roll, every subtweet, every cold comment chips away at the respect she worked years to build. The torch is being passed, whether she likes it or not. That doesn't erase her greatness. It doesn't take away her MVPs. But it does mean she isn't the only story anymore. And trying to tear down the new story doesn't make you the main character again. It makes you the villain. Aya tried to win the public perception battle. She tried humiliation, and she lost instantly. The fans rallied behind the underdog. The numbers backed the rookie, and basketball stayed basketball. The ball goes in the hoop, and as long as Caitlin Clark keeps putting it in from distances we've never seen before, no amount of shade, hard fouls, or veteran pettiness is stopping what's coming. Now I want to hear from you. Did I go too far? Is this jealousy? Or just competitive fire blown out of proportion? Is Caitlin surviving the hazing? Or did I successfully expose her? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. The playoffs are coming, and if these teams meet again, it's going to be absolute fireworks. Collision.